Hey my friend, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining me on this video. Life is really good. You know, for some of us it is, but for some of us it's not. And for everybody, it's gonna get real bad. There is good news. It's a good ending. Well, for some, but the majority, it's bad news. And I'm gonna bring, in this nice sunny day here, I'm gonna bring a lot of clouds into this video, but I want you to please bear with me. I'm pleading with you with tears in my voice, saying, please bear with me. This is a sobering message. You need to hear it. I want to try to keep it to this book here. This is the book of books here. This is the book that more wars were started over than any other book. Yes, it's true. It's the book that they say that people have changed it. Yeah, that's true. Maybe they've changed it. But again, it says at the back of the book here, last chapter, if anybody adds to or takes away, their name will be removed out of the book of life. So I believe that the powers that run this universe are in control enough to keep the book intact enough that we can find life eternal in this book. Life eternal, and we can escape a time of trouble such as never was that's going to break upon this world. And so basically I want to say first off, because some people call me the prophet of doom because of my message, but it's not my message. I'm only going to repeat some things here, and I'm going to show you what this book says. And a simple little message I want to bring in perspective the essence of the word of here. But I do have some joys. I'm in Costa Rica here, and I just had a pina colada. There's all kinds of exotic fruit all over the property here. Um, I honestly say I do have crazy, joyous moments. But so I'm going to, for the people who think that my life is full of doom and gloom, it's not. But yet, I want to say that I still believe that everyone has to meet the judge. I think it says over 80 times in this book that there's a judgment day. Matter of fact, it also says that the judgment is executed in a few different stages, but the decision is made in one day. Okay, so what I want to say here is I want to kind of give myself a plug and give the creator a plug. The plug is for me. I want people to come and join me in this medical missionary outreach. I say medical because people can kind of identify with that, but it's a natural medical outreach where we're working with the sick people of all different types and getting very exciting results. I will upload them sometime, show you, but there's just not enough time in the day, and that's why I'm asking you to join me in this message, this outreach. Or you might say, hey Darren, here's a team, here's some people that think like you, that are honest, and they could use your services, and I'll hook up with them. Okay, as long as they're going by the book here. So I want to say that this is a narrow way that leads to life, and few there be that find it, was the words of the Messiah. He said, many would say, Lord, Lord. This is church people. They're calling him Lord, Lord. But it's not many, meaning a few people here and there. The many is the majority. You see that 10 virgins were on the road to the city of gold. They were all looking for a banquet. These are the purest of the pure. They all had a lamp, a profession, a hope, of faith. They were looking for a wedding banquet, but they all slumbered and slept. And I want to be one of those who wakes up the sleepers. And if you're wise enough, you'll enter into the procession. In other words, you might know what it means. Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. I don't want to come across like a smart guy. I'm so needy. I am so needy, and you are too. The majority of the people on this planet are completely lost, and the majority of people who hold this book are completely lost. Let me just read you something here in chapter 6 of this book. It says in verse 5, and God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And he repented to the Lord that he made man, and he grieved God in his heart. So what are we saying here? God makes mankind, and he destroys them. Now, who were these people? We say, well, these people were the people way back when. It's so far the tattletale that doesn't apply today. No, it does apply today. And scientists can easily reveal a flood. And the young creation scientists, young Earth creation scientists, proven that the Earth is uh, has been covered by water. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, there was a flood. There was a flood on this Earth. And the whole world was destroyed but 8. And people say today, well, no, we're saved by grace through faith. And that's all we need is just to believe. And I agree with you. And like it says here in verse 8, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So Noah alone found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Now, how many people are on this earth? 1 billion people? And Noah found grace. So where does that leave you and me today? Christ says, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Those people, they were real people who heard the story of the plan of redemption. They were informed from their uncle Adam and their auntie Eve that there was a plan of redemption put in place, and so they were looking forward to the promised one. And there was church groups on every corner, I'm sure, and there were people who looked down at other people, and they weren't as good as they were. And we were the saved bunch, they're the lost, those are the hypocrite church. Just as that belief, that's I'm sure there was all kinds of sects back then. Yes, and it says Noah found grace. That's Noah alone. Now, is that consistent with the rest of the book? And I'm only telling you this because I want you to say, yeah, maybe Darren's got a real good point. What are we going to do about it? Then I want to give you a solution. I want to help you to see the solution more fully. Yes, Jesus died for us, and we must die for him. Okay? And we must give him our heart. But how do we do that? And I can't do it in this video, but I pray for time, Father, that I can do these videos and better, and maybe you'll help me on these videos. Okay, let's see later on in the account in the book of Genesis, we see Abraham was approached by a couple of angels, and the angels told Abraham that we were going to destroy uh, the world. To Abraham, that was like a big part of the world, those cities on the plain. Abraham thought, wow, there's a lot of good people in town here. And that's what I thought. I thought, man, there's a lot of good people in this world. Like, no, it's not that narrow. And I didn't fully understand. After going to church for 1,000 sermons, I didn't understand anything. What I understood, I really had to let that go and relearn. I started reading the book for myself. So like Abraham, he probably thought, wow, it's like I can't see that the sinfulness of sin is really that sinful that you're going to destroy all these people. So the angel said, look, if we can find people there, we will. Abraham said, how about 50? And he bargained for 50. And then he said, well, pre-adventure, what if there's 40 and 30? And then he said, well, okay, well, how about even 10? Well, Abraham pleaded to save these cities. If there's only 10 people, the angel said, yeah, we will not destroy the cities. So the moral of this story is, why is there only Lot dragged out of the city and his daughters? Lot even doubted. He turned back. It cost the salvation of his wife, because if he would have been more eager to go, maybe she would have not doubted unto death. And then later on in the account, we see that Moses was called to lead the people out of sin and bondage, out of Egypt into the promised land. Those chosen people did nothing but complain. Well, let me take that back. They did have a measure of righteousness. Morning and night, they would gather from their tent and stare at the altar. They had a religious form. Yeah, they did. They did. And they had established church in the wilderness, and they done some good things. But nevertheless, we saw that they were doubters, and as a result, they were to wander because of their doubting 40 years in the wilderness. And as a result of their doubting and complaining and continuing wanted to beat up Moses, their carcasses fell there, and only Joshua and Caleb were chosen to go into the promised land. Moses himself, because of sin, fell short at the border. It was one sin where Moses had that temper tantrum at the border, but he repented. He needed grace. He needed this. He needed to. Yeah, and that's where grace abounds, where we fall short. But if our life is just a continuing sin, one after another, there ain't no way in the world that you're gonna wake up in salvation. You'll wake up in the lake of fire. The lake of fire is a great fire that destroys the wicked, and it does say it destroys them. Um, so now I'm just saying that it's a narrow way because I want to encourage you to be honest with yourself. I want to encourage you to seek out a team, prayer partners, people that are going to work with you to help you get honest, to help you be sure, accountability partners. We're going to read this book together, study this book together, morning, noon, and night, and make it the whole center of our focus. Or, more importantly, I should say, the author of the book, Jesus, also called Yeshua, the Christ. He has risen from the grave. He is our big brother. He is the one that would make all things possible if we give him our whole heart in service and love to our fellow man. And so I want to just talk a little bit more about this narrowness of this way. So you might say, yeah, I better do something. So we look at the story of the prophets and kings. It was just a terrible history of God's people, how they were thrown into captivity time and time again. And the like one comes to mind where Elijah on Mount Carmel went head to head with the established church. He was the only man, he thought, and God said, "No, I have 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to Baal." Elijah couldn't see them. These 7,000, I believe, was like a symbolic number, like the 7,000 that died in Revelation, in the chapter of Revelation. Is kind of a story of his church. He has a chosen people outside of the supposedly chosen people. And so just in that little showdown between when he was going head to head with the nation, he stood alone. But after the day when he won the battle, then, oh yeah, okay, let's get on the winning side for a while. But the people just couldn't hold it. And we see David, he had a heart after the Father, but yet he had to murder somebody to steal his wife. And so, how is that? Would you do that? I don't think I would do that. But maybe if we were a king, we would. If we had all that power, we might. Okay, let's just move right down to the end of time. Or actually, not closing the end of time. 2,000 years ago, Christ himself was crucified by his chosen people. And the disciples were also murdered. You see, Christ said, he predicted his death, and sure enough, it came true. But after he was lifted up,